Hey guys, it's Ted Bogert with the TED Show. Super excited to have the one and only, the amazing Dr. Eboni Rainey on the show. Welcome to the show.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Isn't she awesome? Like, you walked in, I was like, oh, a breath of fresh air. It was really awesome to have you walk in the club and get it all together. We're excited to talk about balance today, which Eboni and I have been kind of diving into a little bit before the show. Balance is such an interesting word because they aspire to have balance in their lives, but a lot of times the balance isn't what they think, and so that's where a lot of the stress comes from. And there's just so much that goes into trying to figure out what balance means to you, whether or not it's the same as mine, probably not. So you have to find your mix. So we're going to talk to Eboni, we're going to find out about her journey, and we're going to get to the bottom of how you can try to figure out how to balance your entrepreneurship, business life with your personal life. So welcome to the show.
Thank you.
All right, so tell us a little bit about you. They love the journey. They love to know the background. People are always fascinated how you get to this point where you're actually going to talk about balance.
Yes, so just a little bit of background and I'll switch forward. I'm originally from Sarasota, Florida, and from there, I kind of had some time in Brunswick, Georgia as a young age, and then of course I went to the prestigious Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University,
Nice.
which is known as FAMU, where I got my bachelor's in marketing. That streamlined me to kind of narrow down, like, okay, I'm out of college, who am I? What do I want to do?
We're all still trying to figure that out, Eboni.
Yes, every day. It's something new. That's with balance. So from there, I used to always go to the career fairs, and I was like, oh, I want to be that person that you talk to. So I researched honestly, and I noticed like it's a recruiter. So I'm like, okay, I want to be a recruiter. Got my master's in human resources management, went into recruitment, did that for 4 years.
You'd be great at recruitment. Yes, you've got that bubbly personality. People feel comfortable around you. That's what recruitment needs.
They do.
I love that.
They do. And so then from there, I was like, okay, probably like the second year after college, I was like, I want to get my PhD, but I don't know what into it. I always know I want to be a business owner or whatnot, not an entrepreneur, because we didn't know that language back in the day. Not that I'm old, but
right? I was gonna say, but didn't you get your PhD in that?
Yes, I got my PhD in entrepreneurship and business management. And so, but I said if I was going to get another loan, I was going to get it in something that I knew I wanted to be in, that I can be an expert in. Right. Because you have to have that balance, hands-on experience, and education. Balance. So, yeah, from there, then I started to really go into the entrepreneur route. After being in corporate America for quite some time, I was like, you know what, something has to give.
So tell me about that, because I think you get your PhD, so you're Dr. Rainey, which I love. But then what do you do in business? Was your ultimate goal to own a business and do consulting? Was your ultimate goal to just educate, teach other people how to do it? What did you want to be once you got that PhD?
So pursuing my PhD, that's when I really discovered my purpose, because in the program you really had to dig deep, you had to research, and I tell people all the time, I'm a master researcher, and I got that from being in my program, but also tying that into me being analytical too. But it came about, honestly, when I was younger, I was a hustler, what we known as. I was a candy girl. Anybody can tell you in Brunswick, I'm not Brunswick, but Bradenton, I sold candy, hot sausages, pickles. I would go to school. My mom would take over for me because she was in nursing. So when I was in school, she was home. As soon as I got home, she was like, "It's your turn." So people knock on the door. Can I get a hot sausage? Can I get a juice?
So you would sell that. You were hustler is great.
Yes, I was a hustler.
You loved the it's basically like the kill of the sale. You loved getting that all going. So you had an entrepreneurial spirit. We just didn't call it that back then.
Nope.
Entrepreneurship is a large word that confuses a lot of people, because I think people don't know what that means, but I think a lot of people are entrepreneurs and just don't know it.
Yeah.
Not in the traditional sense where you think, oh, you opened up an Apple's your company, or Amazon. There's lots of entrepreneurs.
Levels.
There's levels,
Yes.
right? So you wanted to hustle. You did hustle.
Yes.
And then what was your first business out the gate? What did you do?
Actually, me and my sister, we did hair. We did braids, we did sew-ins, we did quick weaves. I actually started at 12 and she started at 13.
Wow.
We used to tag team, and she'll be on one side, I would braid, she would braid. We would finish people in like 4 hours that could take 8 hours.
Wow.
We did that. So but my mom is what drove us, I think, that entrepreneur spirit. Because she had her own hair salon at one point, and so she kind of balanced that entrepreneur and nursing.
And
nursing. She was a nurse. She was a
Wow.
nurse for quite some time.
So you had someone in the house that you could look up to that had the spirit already. I think a lot of times it's usually one of two things. Three things. You either don't have it at all, which is okay. You had it innately, meaning you were born with it and you have nobody around you who's like that. You had the person that you could look up to, could see what it was like, and you could see how successful that was, how cool that was. It was your natural place to be. But a lot of people don't take it to the PhD level. So when you get your PhD and you get you're now Dr. Rainey, what do you do next?
You live. You understand where you are, you understand your purpose and your passions, and you allow that. And for me, one of my drivers is my faith. Like, my God is my driver.
Understood.
So understanding myself allowed me to go past just the title. Because people ask, why did you get your PhD? Like, do you really need it?
Right.
And in my thought process, yes, I do.
You did, but because for them, that's just an additional amount of school for what?
Right.
For you, it's part of your DNA. You wanted to have that. You said it earlier, you're a researcher, a knowledge person, analytical, and so having a PhD, that's just you being able to get more information in, so that as you're disseminating it out, you're getting it out there, you're doing what you love to do. Finding your passion, though. So how did you find what your passion is?
Okay, so...
And what would you say your passion is? Can you actually say to them, this is my passion? We talked about faith, but on the business side, what's your passion?
My passion is really... Okay, so I have quite a few passions, because people need to understand there could always be an S behind
Correct.
passion.
And there's not one right answer.
No, that's why it's always so hard for people to distinguish that, because it's not a right or wrong answer.
Correct.
It's your answer.
Right.
So for me, identifying my purpose allowed me to trickle down my passions. And I'm going to explain it really quickly.
Love that.
Yes, because my purpose, and it's so generic and common, but it's to help people. But then, okay, my purpose is to help people. Then my passions are, okay, so what am I passionate about? Where, in all actuality, I can become lucrative in. I can do this and work and do at the same time. That's helping people with HR, helping them understand that. That's one of my businesses. Wigs. I love to help people feel comfortable, feel beautiful. Anytime I walk anywhere, I feel like I have confidence, so I want to transfer that over to you, so I can hopefully inspire you. Then, of course, in real estate, talking with people, consulting with them, helping them understand what's their wish list, what's not, what's their need list, helping them understand. That's what I do. My passion is listening, understanding people, but also having that balance. Oh
I think what's interesting about what you're saying is, what I love is there's such a wide range of what you're doing. So you knew what your purpose was, you defined it, you said, all right, I want to help people. A lot of people stop there. They don't really know how to help people. You said, I've got all these unique interests. Why don't I find a way to help people? Because honestly, you don't find a lot of PhD doctors who have a hair business. You don't find a lot of PhD doctors who have a consulting business with HR. You don't find a lot of PhDs who are in real estate. So you took your education, which was the more knowledge for you, and said, well, I don't want to just stay with one.
I don't.
And I think a lot of people get caught up. I've got to find the exact perfect passion based on what I want to do. I want to help people. And then they sit around stagnant for years because they're so afraid they're not doing the right thing to help people.
Right.
You're doing a whole bunch of things to help people on a whole bunch of different levels.
Yes.
I love that.
And it's not easy, and I have to tell people that all the time. Not that I'm trying to explain myself, but when you ask me how do I do it, and I tell you, please take heed, because it's not.
Isn't that
easy.
frustrating?
Yes.
People want to know your secret, but if your secret sounds like it's work, it's very difficult for people to take it on.
Especially with social media.
Yes.
They see the pretty pictures. They see you go here. They see you. They think you have it all together.
Yes, they do.
In all actuality, I'm an open book. I go live all the time, and I tell them it's not easy. I have mental breakdowns. I have moments where I have to uplift myself.
Correct.
You know, I have to pray. I have to do all this stuff, this regimen that I keep myself going. But understand, it's not easy. Every day it's a struggle. It's a different struggle.
I think people, it's so good you brought that up, and that's the vulnerability that I talk about on the show. You have to be authentic, and you have to figure out, you have to give yourself permission to have those breakdowns.
Yes.
And you have to talk about the fact that you're not perfect. None of you out there are perfect. Your social media is not perfect. I'm not perfect. Don't tell anybody I said that. Ebony's not perfect. But the thing is that we're works in progress, and we get knocked down, and then you continue to get back up. I could go to 1,000,000 Tony Robbins, for example. I'm still going to have a bad day.
Yes.
It doesn't mean that you're failing. It just means you had a bad day or you've got a bad run. It doesn't mean your life is bad. And so trying to figure out that balance, trying to figure out what makes your life better. You said you had to pick yourself up. You have a regimen that you do. You pray. I pray too.
Mm-hmm.
Prayer is part of so much of what I do. But I think you have to have something that speaks to you, that gets you out of that.
Yes.
So what do you give them? Well, tell us about your regimen, because obviously prayer is part of it.
Yes.
So let's say you're having a bad day, because I think people will come away and go, yeah, her bad day might be that her hair is not in a good
Not
place,
even a bit.
or
I
she's
have a
got
wig
dry
shop.
skin, or I think that people will go, what kind of things do you do, or can you tell them that you do that you use to pick yourself up?
Yes. So I'm a very spiritual person.
Me too.
So typical day for me, if I'm having a bad day or I'm just not aligned, like my body and spirit is not aligned, so it knocks me off a bit. Honestly, gospel music, I have to turn on something that really just opens up my spirit
Love
to
that.
Receiving something else than what I'm thinking.
Correct.
So I meditate a lot. And so people, they think, okay, I go to church, I go out, I listen to R&B, I listen to rap, I listen to gospel music. Like, Ebony, but that's balance for me. Understand your balance is what you consider your balance and
Correct.
what keeps you afloat.
It's not going to be the same for you.
No.
Shirley says, this show is balancing me out right now. I love you, Shirley. I think it is so important for everyone to know that you have to find what it is. And for most people, you actually do know it. You just haven't explored that that's what does it. For me, I'll listen to, I love music, so I'll listen to music, or I'll get my mind so that I'm not focused on me for a minute.
Yes.
I'm focused on something else. I love what you said. I'm opening up my mind so I can receive something else. And I think that's so powerful. I think we get so caught up in trying to find the solution to why we're not balanced that we're never going to be in balance.
Right.
We spend so much time focusing on the negative that we're not taking in the positive that we need to take in. And we're not allowing it in. Why? Because we're so focused on what's going on and why we're bad. Why we're not good people. Why we're not balanced. Why am I not like Ebony? She's just told you she has really rough days.
Yes.
I do too. She just told you that she has this thing that she does in order to get herself more aligned.
Yes.
So what do you do on the business side though? So to me that feels personal. Are there different things that you do on business when you're working with people, when you're telling someone, look, here are some of the things that I want you to do that can help you balance your life professionally? Because we took care of some of the personal stuff, right? What about professionally?
I would say honestly, professionally, like I mentioned, I am a listener. And I was telling you earlier, understanding business and personal is just boundaries that you're setting. So when I'm talking with a client, I'm listening to them. I need to understand their need first before I can offer my expertise or what I recommend.
That's good.
So my questions are detailed enough for you to think about what you really need, but my response is very limited because I really need to hear you. I need to understand you. And I think that's one thing that some people get wrong in business is that they talk so much. Like, be quiet. Let somebody talk and tell you what they really need, and maybe you can be successful in that transaction, or just be successful in communicating with people.
So much of what we do, because I'm on the mortgage side, you're on the real estate side, it's still the same. So many of the problems, the heartaches, if we listened better, sometimes the client, the borrower in my case, all they want to do is be heard.
Yes.
And that's not just for borrowers on the mortgage side, that's your clients in whatever business you're in, that's your family, your friends. People just want to be heard. So if you can just sit and listen for a minute and not have your response ready,
yes.
or your argument or your reason or your excuse or your rationale or wherever you're going to go with it, and really hear what they're saying, I think that you will make leaps and bounds a better business person,
yes.
a better friend, a better husband, a better spouse, a better mom, dad, child, because we do spend so much time worrying about ego-wise what we have to say, and we don't listen enough. So
yes.
listening is so good, and that can be applied in business. I get a lot of comments from people that say, I haven't been listened to like that in a long
yes.
time. If you can get to that level where you can actually listen to people and hear them, it's going to build up not only your personal relationships, but your business relationships
yes.
exponentially.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're taught that we have to respond. You don't have to get the last word in.
Yes.
You don't have to be right. I don't care if you are right. Sometimes being right isn't the right answer either.
Right. Or when you respond, you have to, sometimes it's not even about you. Understand the conversation. And people, I was not always like this. It took time. I'm only 28, but I am a person that take heed.
Yes.
Spiritual, like I said, my mom, she's very spiritual, so she instilled these things in me. And I'm the person, you tell me one thing, I'm going to take heed. I'm going to take it in consideration. Hence, I'm analytical too. So I have to break it and piece it down.
But you're listening.
Yes, listening.
When she says take heed, she's, in my opinion, and I hear that, I'm listening to what you have to say. I could have the strongest opinion about what you're doing. And if you come to me and them proving their point correct, that's why social media can be dangerous.
Yes.
You have to be very careful about what you put on social media. Social media is also about balance.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got to take it to the next level because we're all involved. So if you're showing, let's say you want to have a balance on social media and you're either spending too much time there,
yes.
and not productive time, or so much of your stuff is one or the other. You're a business person and you do nothing but business, I'm bored.
Yes.
You're you're in the personal side and all I see you do is running, exercising, and I'm really bored, but I'm bored. There has to be a good balance of what you're putting out there on social media. It's good for you too.
Yes.
So what do you do? What do you recommend? Because you are on camera, you've done Facebook Live. What do you recommend for people who are on social media? How do they figure out how to balance, and how do you do it?
Yes, so honestly, on the personal side of things, I'm authentic. I show you myself, real, recognize real, honestly. So I show who I am, but to a certain extent, because I have a business, I have a reputation, I have an image that I have to uphold.
Correct.
And in a sense of still not losing myself. So I'll post business posts. I'm very organized, planning, so I may auto post something. And then on the opposite side, people say, girl, your hair just changed. First and foremost, my hair changed twice a week. I changed my wig, I have something else. So when I tell you I'm so balanced in my head, because physically I'm balanced. When I look good, I feel good, I do good. It's a good day. And then from there, mentally, spiritually, sometimes I'm off, sometimes I'm there, but when I'm balanced, I am good. So that ties into me personally and business-wise on social media. Like, what are you trying to project? What is your goal for today? If you want to focus, like for me, if I want to focus on real estate, then today I'm going to focus on real estate.
Correct.
These are my days for that. And then also I may shoot you a little video of me singing in a car. I did that on the way here.
Nice.
Like, it's who I am. I have personality.
You do, but you show it and you share it, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
The good, the bad, and the ugly.
I think it's so important. I think people think that it's all this, right? So we've got a talented videographer behind the scenes that's doing our thing. We look better doing the show. I look better than I normally would.
Yes.
As far as the lighting and everything else goes. But there are days where I don't look good and I just want to put on a baseball cap And yeah, I might want to do a show. Maybe I don't want to do a show.
Yes.
Also, you have to listen to your body and your spirit and your soul. Yesterday, for the first time forever, my body's like, you're done. 7:30, guys, I crashed. That's why I didn't return 95 of your text messages, your emails, or your any message. Pick a platform. Why? My body's like, enough.
Right.
And so you have to kind of figure out how to get in tune with that. I never go to bed that early. I'm usually up, you guys know. And I did wake up later, but you have to listen too to what's going on. And if you know yourself, you know your limits, your boundaries that you were talking about, and you have that kind of balance, then you go with it. You have to go with it. And you have to stop pushing yourself in a way that might not be productive for you.
That's the key.
I think that's it, right? I think we have to figure out, like, you can do all sorts of fun, cool stuff, but if it's not productive for you, either personally or professionally, if it's not feeding you personally, professionally, soulfully, spiritually, whatever your beliefs are, I think that a lot of times we get caught up in, well, this is what this person's doing, so I should be doing the exact same thing.
That is, oh yes, that's one of the biggest misconceptions is in society now because of social media, the exposure. You feel like you have to be doing what somebody else doing.
Correct.
Everything is a goal. Oh, they're goals. They're this. No, what are your really think back and ask yourself? And like I said, I have not always been this way, but I really have to think myself. Okay, Eboni, what do you want to do? Like, okay, people say, oh, you go to church all the time. No, I find time when I feel the need or the push to go to church to fellowship
Yes.
with others and to listen to worship, praise and worship. That's when I feel the need to go. I don't feel like I always have to go. I also meditate. I pray. I spend time with God, with myself, because that's what I need to
Yes.
push myself. I don't always have to push myself to do certain things that other people are doing. So understanding what works for you is what will get you through the day. Honestly, I take every day one by one.
I agree.
I really do.
I think you have to. Like, I have a friend, I won't name her. Hopefully I'll send her this and tag her in it later. She felt the need to get up at 5 a.m. and go work out.
Okay.
Every day. She's not as old as me, but she's not 30. And so she got up because somebody told her that. She got it in her mind. Somebody told her that that was what she needed to do to make her life better.
Mm-hmm.
She posts really regularly about how much she absolutely hates what she's doing. I personally couldn't live with that much negativity no matter what my goals are. So my suggestion to her would be, and I'll do it privately, find a time that you like to go, or find an exercise that you do like, or walk, or find something. Going to the gym just because everybody else said they're going to the gym doesn't make it good for you.
Yep.
We're back to balance. It doesn't mean that that's part of who you are, and you can find a way. If exercise gives you relief, if it's good for your health, it's not good for my health. No, if it's good for your health, I think it's important to find the right way. I think that's why a lot of people get in the gym in the beginning of the year and then they're gone because they hate the routine.
Yes.
And they haven't found what their path. Go to yoga, find something.
Yes.
There's goat yoga now. There's so many different things that you can do just to work on your body a little bit. But you shouldn't push yourself to the guilt, and it doesn't have to be exercise. It could be a party. It could be whatever peer pressure you have going on personally or professionally. That may not be you. So don't do it. If it's not in your DNA and you don't feel like it and you're literally struggling with it on a daily basis and it's making you a miserable human being, I say change it.
Yes.
Because that's not balance. You think it's balance. Oh, I worked out from 8 to 10 today, and then I worked, and then I ate well. It's not balance. That's just you doing something that you think somebody else told you to do.
Right.
All right, so we're going to share. I don't know what time we're at because I feel like we've been talking forever. Tell me where we're at, Darius. Because I love talking to her, and I don't want to. Okay, see, my brain, right?
I felt it too.
I was like,
geez,
I don't want to go over, but I love talking to you, and I'd love to have you back on. I love the balanced conversation, mostly because I think people are always striving for it, and they don't know how to attain it.
Yes.
And then they look at something like this, and they don't have the tools, or they feel like they don't have the tools. Go with what you know. Think about happiness and what makes you feel good inside, and really focus. If you're not a faith-based people like we are, but you're spiritual, there are many ways, many books, many things that you can do to kind of get that balance. And I think you have to figure out on all levels where that's at. It's not just body, it's not just mind, It's not just soul, spirit. There's lots of things that you need to do.
And write it down.
Oh, tell them about write it down.
Yes, I'm going to say this because I had to get in the habit of when I come to a conclusion of, God, that made me feel so good when I did it. Write it down.
Yeah.
That's when you'll be able to really distinguish your purpose and your passions. You're like, oh, like if you went out and just for relationship wise, for ladies, if you went out and the guy opened the door for you and he said, oh, you're so beautiful. If that made you flutter and smile, that's what you need. That's part of your love language. Understand that balance. So that's what you look for. Like that's what makes you happy in a relationship or whatever. Use that. Write it down. And for instance, if something made you mad and you reacted to it in a negative way, write it down. Because you know what you need to change and what you don't need to change.
Correct.
So it's just those things you need to take in consideration of what your body and your mind is doing, and just jot it down, even if it's on your phone.
I think jotting it down is so important, and don't get caught up in the jotting it down. I have people that buy the journal, and then they're so afraid that they're not going to sound intelligent in the journal. I've actually had people tell me that. It doesn't matter. You're the only one reading the journal.
Right.
God doesn't care. Whatever you pray to doesn't care. Wherever you're at in your mind, nobody cares if your grammar is correct in your journal. So write it down. It could be a brief sentence. It doesn't mean you're bad. Don't worry that Carol over here wrote 4 pages today.
Yes.
You can write 3 words and still it has an impact on you, and it's about you in that. So stop comparing yourself, people. You can't have balance if you're constantly worried about what everyone else is doing.
Yes.
All right, so foundation's super important to us on the show. It's the theme this week, and I think people get caught up. They don't know what their foundation is, what their foundational beliefs, what's their non-negotiables in business and in personal life. Can you share with them maybe 1 or 2 of the foundational things that really drive you in business that you go, this is me, this is important to me, this is a non-negotiable?
I would say it's a couple of things. Integrity is one thing, and promptness, timely. I'm a very timely and prompt person. Anybody can tell you that. Either I'm going to show up early or on time. And most of my clients, they don't even know I do all that I do because they're like, but you give me so much of your time. You go above and beyond because that's what I believe in. My integrity, if I say I'm going to do something, that's what I'm going to do. Those are my boundaries. Those are I'm not going outside of that. If I feel like we're finessing something or something that's not right, that's a boundary. I'm not going outside of that. Those are my foundations. And then of course, faith is my foundation.
Well, faith's my building block of everything.
That's just everything.
But a lot of people don't have that, or they haven't figured it out. It could be your meditation. It could be your, when we talk about faith, we're talking about God. Yours could be a faith in something else. Yes. But I think faith is definitely, probably if people think about it, there's something they have faith in that they put at their foundation, and then that kind of builds on it. You're a joy. Thank you so much for being on the show. Dr. Eboni Rainey, and we're going to share all of her contact information, how you can reach out to her. We tagged Rainey Enterprises. We tagged, I'm going to be the joke, but I'm going to say it. It's Sassy Sista's Boutique.
Yes!
It's terrible. I'll share that joke with you later. But I love the fact that you have that sass for life. Sass is not a bad word. And you're just so energetic and open, and I appreciate that so much. So reach out to her. She's amazing. We love you guys. We'll be back soon.